Today, I thought I would do a little bit of a more personal, real, raw video. I wanted to talk about anxiety. I think a lot of people struggle with anxiety in this day of age because of social media. And I think there's a lot more stressors that have just come upon a lot of people, especially financial stressors, work stressors, family stressors, and I think anxiety is at an all-time high. I'm not even kidding, almost every single person that I know has anxieties in some way or another. So I wanted to make this kind of like a conversation that's not so stigmatized. I wanted to make this very relaxed and open and just kind of go over my experience with anxiety and what has helped me. So let's just jump right on in. That was like country, I don't know what that was. Let's just jump right on in. I guess we can start with when I first experienced anxiety. For me, it was a very specific point in my life. I was a sophomore in high school and it was prom season. I had to go pick out my prom dress and we went prom dress shopping. I found this beautiful yellow dress and I loved it. When I was in the store, I loved it. Everyone that was with me loved it and was really wanting me to get this dress. So I did. And I got home. That was when anxiety just took over my body. I could not sleep for the next couple weeks. I was essentially freaking out over my decision of getting a yellow dress when I should have just got a normal dress that every other girl would get. When I tell you my heart was racing. I had like night sweats. It was so bad over this dress, like something so stupid, but in my mind, in my high school mind, prom was like, it's a big deal. So I was second guessing my decision. I did not want to wear my dress, but my parents thankfully had purchased the dress for me my sophomore year, and I felt really bad that they had bought the dress and that I didn't like it, so I didn't really want to say anything to them. I think that was my first real experience with anxiety. After that, it just kind of progressed. Anxiety usually came to me about school. Anything that I had to read out loud or present, I was in a full-blown panic. I had a lot of testing anxiety, and I would say that it really didn't get any better until my freshman year of college. Now, the reason why I think it did get a little bit better in my freshman year of college is you're with a bunch of people that are like you. You're with all college students. You're sleeping in the same dorm room as other girls. Your stressors are much like everyone else's stressors, so I feel like it's a lot more of a community there, and I think that I was stuck in that community, and anxiety definitely got a lot better for me freshman and sophomore year. Junior and senior year, it started to ramp up a little bit. My friends were finding internships and jobs, and that was when I was like, I really do not know what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I think we put so much pressure on ourselves when we are junior, senior in college to figure everything out. A lot of the times it does not work out like that. So very unrealistic to think that me as a senior in college was gonna know the whole roadmap for my whole life. But I had a lot of pressure on myself to figure that out. I also feel like in college, it is very much a planned schedule. So yeah, you have these classes, you have 6 classes a semester, and you need to do good in each one. So you need to keep up, you need to be organized. That was pretty easy for me to keep up with all of it, to stay organized. I'm a very organized person. So you go from being so little up to your senior year of college, always being kind of told what to do. And then all of a sudden, it's like you graduate college and you're, what do I do now? No one's gonna tell me what to do. I need to figure it out on my own. That really stressed me out, just not knowing what I wanted to do. I thought coming out of college, I wanted to go into sales. Sales makes great money, and I can talk to people when I'm confident about what I'm talking about in like a work situation. I am completely fine talking to anyone as long as I have all of the tools in my tool belt. Like I know exactly what I want want to say and I'm educated on it. So I got a job in sales for Staples. It was the corporate job for Staples. My job is actually going to be down here in Wilmington at an office in Wilmington, but I was still up in Massachusetts. They wanted me to accept the job a bit earlier, so I did. I took it 1 month earlier than when I was moving, so they wanted me to do everything remote. So they sent me everything I needed. I have never been so panicked in my life. I remember my boss calling me. It was probably the first week that I was working. I still didn't even know the product I was selling completely. I was taking classes at the time to figure out what exactly I was selling. So my boss calls me and he says, mind you, this is like 1 week in, I'm very new, I'm by myself in my room, freaking out. And he says, I want you to make 100 calls by the end of the week, cold calls. So I pulled up this software that I didn't even know how to use. I can't even remember what it's called. I think it's like I can't remember what it's called. So I had to pull up this software I had no clue how to use, try to find these businesses that I didn't even know who they were or what, and I had to call them and try to sell them on this product that I, again, had no clue what it really was. So I was definitely not confident in myself at that point. I think I definitely needed more time to understand the product before I just called people and tried to sell it and tried to sell myself. It was extremely hard. I took about 10 minutes between every single call to try to hype myself up. I was in full blown sweat, freaking out, like could not do it, could not get my fingers to type the number to call the person. Finally, I would call it. And it every single time went horrible. Every single time. I mean, people would just hang up on me, people would yell at me, and I seriously had no clue what I was doing. I think it was like really bad setup. I had to be in office to learn this job for sure. So doing it by myself at home was not going well for me. I mean, I would have a panic attack every single day before our morning Zoom call. Like I could not do it. So I finally was like, listen, I don't think that this is for me. I really appreciate the job opportunity. It was not the right fit for me. When I tell you I was in a complete panic every single day, it wasn't even funny. I mean, I remember this one day I called my dad, absolute hysterically crying, freaking out. I was like, I cannot do this. Like, I cannot call these people. And let me say, I definitely could have. I'm not saying like you can't do something like that. I could have done something like that. My anxiety was just so bad at that point. It felt like it was holding me back so hard. Looking back, I am happy that I did quit that job. I don't think I would have been happy there at all. I just didn't like the idea of cold calling. I don't like when people cold call me, so why would I enjoy cold calling other people? Because I understand when they get upset or they just hang up. Like I get it. Anyways, moving on. I ended that job. It was in the end the right decision for me at the time. I was again moving down to North Carolina in about a month, so I was like, you know what? Let's take a break from the job search, and when I get down here, I will go and I will find a job. Everything will be okay. I felt pretty good for that next month. We moved in. I was really excited to be with Matt again. And then it came time to find a job, and that was all fine. I didn't have a problem with finding a job. It was more that Matt wasn't there every single day and I was by myself trying to go on LinkedIn, applying to jobs, researching jobs. I was like going crazy with jobs. Every single day, that is what I did from the moment I woke up to the moment Matt got home. And I was in tears every single time Matt got home because I felt like such a failure that I couldn't find a job. No one wanted to hire me right out of college without any experience. I'm talking no one. So pressure definitely started to set in, and I was going around places just dropping off my resume trying to get anyone to hire me basically. And I didn't really want a part-time job at that point. I wanted a full-time job. Then we met our friends now. So my friend Carson actually works at the job that I used to work at, and she set me up with an interview. I had the interview, I got the job. It was awesome. I started working there and I loved it. I loved the people I worked with. Everything was great until it came time to answer the phones, set up appointments, cancel appointments, and you really need to know your stuff when it comes to being an admin for a dental office. Like, you need to know what number or letter the teeth are. Like, I didn't know any of that. So someone would call asking for dental advice, like, should we even come in? Is this a problem? And I would have to put them on hold and ask another coworker. And then finally, after asking so many questions, I kind of got the hang of it on my own. So that job was going very well. I was there for a little bit, and then they wanted me to cross-train to other jobs, which was fine. But one thing that they wanted me to do was read the morning huddle. This sent me into a complete spiral. I was like, I cannot do that. What that means is you stand in front of the doctor and all of the hygienists and assistants, and you read off of a piece of paper every single patient that you are seeing that day, why the reasoning that they're coming in, where they were referred from, what their dental history is, what their medical history is. You had to go through so many things. I was freaking out. I was like, I cannot do that and read in front of all these people. I was like, what if I mess up? I still really don't know exactly what I'm talking about. It was really difficult, but I knew that I did have to push myself and do it. I wasn't just going to say, I'm not doing this. So I did go home. I talked to my dad. I explained how much anxiety I have and that it's just not going away. It's making my day-to-day life 10 times harder than it has to be. And that is when he was like, why don't you try some medication? Why don't you talk to your doctor? Once he said that, it was almost like a sigh of relief. I knew that that was the next step anyways, but I don't think I was going to take it without having someone else say, this is what you should do. I did that. I made a telehealth appointment and I talked to my doctor and I said, listen, this is what I've been going through. I've had this for so long now. My day-to-day life is definitely suffering because of it. She was like, I think that medication would definitely help you out. So she did prescribe me some medication for anxiety as well as panic attacks. So I have 2 different medications. I take one every single day for my anxiety. The panic attack is only if I have like a feeling of a panic attack is when I would take that. Let me tell you, these medications have changed my life for the better. I am no doctor, so you need to, if you think that medication is the right route for you, you need to talk to your doctor because they know your health history. They know what type of medications you're already on and what will work best for you. Starting my anxiety medication was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. I could do the huddle, no worries. I could do normal day-to-day tasks so much easier. It was like a sigh of relief when I tell you that starting this medication changed my life that much. This is just all to say, again, you know your body better than anyone else. If you think that you are struggling with this, it's getting so overwhelming to your everyday, day-to-day life, then I would suggest at least having a conversation with your doctor and trying to figure it out. Life is not meant to be this stressful or to live with this much anxiety in our bodies. It's not healthy. While we are on this topic, I thought we could go through a couple things that have also kind of helped as kind of supplemental to my medication. Being organized is huge for me. If I am organized and stick to my routines, I know exactly what my day is going to bring. There is nothing that is going to set me off, or if something does get out of place, I am much more likely to relax and handle it in a better situation than if my day was just like, I don't know what I'm doing today, let's figure it out. I think that would not be healthy, at least for me. So having a strong routine and staying organized is extremely helpful. I've also heard that when you feel like you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, to have something sour. This I have not tried. I kind of just found out about it, and I wish that I would have tried this before, but they say to bite into a lemon with the peel on it, and it's supposed to like ground you and take you out of this fight or flight zone and just make you really relax your whole body, as well as sour candy. So a lot of people carry around sour candy to help them with anxiety because it kind of just takes your mind off of things. If you're someone that struggles with just generalized anxiety like me, get a journal. And no, I'm not about to say write in your journal how you're feeling. You are going to write down 1, 2, and 3. Now, for 1, you're gonna do what is making you so anxious in this moment. Why are you having so much anxiety? You write that down. Now for 2, you would write down the worst case scenario, like worst possible outcome is number 2. Now you'll wait until you finish what was giving you that anxiety, and you'll go back and you'll write down next to number 3 what actually happened. This is going to kind of rewire your brain to think of, okay, I've worried about all of this in the past, and look, the worst case scenario usually never comes true. Yes, there is possibilities where it does come true every once in a while, but for the most times you're gonna see that you just really work yourself up by being able to take a look at that journal and see, oh my gosh, look at what my mind just thinks of, and what actually happens will help you rewire your thinking. So just a quick example, Morgan Riddle, I don't know if any of you guys know who she is, but she actually is the one that I listened to one of her podcasts that she was on, and she talked about this journaling method. She used the example of being afraid to fly. She has a lot of flying anxiety, so that would be her number 1. Her number 2 was the plane would crash. That was her number 2, and then when she landed at her destination, she would go into her journal and write down number 3. I landed safely in Miami. Had a great time, had a great weekend. So then the next time you're having this anxious thought, you can look back at all of these anxieties that you have had in the past, what you thought was going to happen, and then what actually happened. And it's really going to help you a lot. That is something that I have been trying to do. It's so interesting to see how your mind just makes things into such a big problem when it really isn't, and how you really worry about things that haven't even happened yet. I am being very raw and real in this video. I think anxiety is an awkward conversation for a lot of people. Like I said, I try not to make it awkward for me. I just try to make it like, okay, it's part of my everyday life. I started this channel knowing that, my demographic that I have on my channel is a lot of teenagers, 20s to 30s, and some 30 to 40s, some sprinkles here and there of other ages, but that is mainly the age range that I have, is high school to college students and getting out into the workforce. So I wanted to be very open with my struggles and be able to kind of open up a conversation about it, let you know that you are not alone. If you are someone that is feeling anxious, there is a way out. You just need to find what works best for you. I would recommend trying different things at first, and then if you feel like your day-to-day life is just not going the way that it should, I would highly recommend at least having a conversation with your doctor. It is nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed about at all. The amount of people that I know that are on anxiety medication that I am on is crazy. So just know that you are not alone if this is something that you struggle with as well. If you have any tips that have helped you with anxiety or any struggles with mental health, definitely comment them down below. That way we can kind of share some ideas of how to get yourself out of that mental rut and that mental cage of anxiety. I feel like I always preach bettering yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, but I just want to say mental health is and should be a top priority on everyone's list. If you're not mentally well, then nothing in your life is going to go the way that you want it. So just focus on yourself, focus on your mental well-being, focus on doing things that make you happy and reduce your stress. And know that life is not that serious. Everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. I know that I have needed to hear this for a long time, so that's why I'm kind of just saying it now. Yeah, I guess that's all I really wanted to say on this topic as for right now. I hope you guys have a good day and a good week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.